When you hear debt, I bet the first thing that comes into your head are either loan sharks or bad deals. But what if I told you that there's such a thing as good and bad debt? These both have different outcomes depending on how you use them. So, for this video, we'll be talking about 5 different ways the wealthy use debt to get rich. Before we get to them though, let's talk about what good and bad debt are. Welcome to Modern Wealth, where we talk about all the good things in finance, even debt. It's always important to understand what we mean by good debt and bad debt. Let's start with good debt. This is the type that helps you accumulate assets that increase in value over time. Sometimes it could even come with interest, meaning more money. When you have something like loan interest, you can use the income coming from this to repay any debt you have. Some examples of good debt include property, shares, and investing in managed funds. We'll talk about this last one a bit more later. So, what then is bad debt? Well, this is the type that buys goods, services, or different assets that might not be income generating at all. These are the type of things people invest in that have no returns and no way to pay the debt back. Some examples include credit card debt, personal car loans, or even a lot of family home loans. But in the US, one of the most typical examples of bad debt is student loans. But whether or not it's bad debt actually depends on the individual. For example, if someone takes out student loans and doesn't have a clear career path and continuously changes their majors, then this could be considered bad debt. But if someone needs these loans to pay for something like a medical school, for example, and stay with the course, then this could be considered good debt. Unfortunately, a lot of poor and middle-class people spend their entire lives working to pay off bad debt. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has a few things to say about debt. First off, he feels that a house is a liability, but this way of thinking separates the rich from the poor and middle class. He knows the rich buy assets. The poor and middle class only get liabilities that they wholeheartedly think are assets. He teaches us that if money is leaving our pockets, then that's not an asset. It's the same between houses and cars for Kiyosaki. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why should you consider bad debt when the word bad is written all over it? You'd be surprised to know how the rich actually take advantage of bad debt. This is through efficiency and a strong mindset to secure financial peace. Some wealthy people say that all debt is bad. But is it really? As we're growing up, you might know that when we learn that something is bad, it'll stick with us for almost the rest of our lives. It's almost the exact same thing with debt. A lot of experts will tell you to focus on paying all of your personal debt and stay out of debt for the rest of your lives. It's a good thing to follow, but rich people might say otherwise. Dave Ramsey, a popular radio host who talks about all things money, has taught people how to use debt well. We'll be talking about a few of the ways rich people use debt to get rich. It's a matter of it being either destructive or constructive. The first way is through debt consolidation. This means that having multiple debts can cost you way more than they gain for you. You might find that you're spending more on paying interest and fees than actually putting your money to good use. So, you have to find extra ways to pay your debts while having your other debts being paid little by little through higher interest debt. Rich people have multiple businesses and projects, so they can combine all their debt and pay them off little by little through these different businesses. For example, you have a small business that gives you extra funds which you can use to pay off other bad debt like credit card balances and personal loans. But you have a long-established home loan deal that stays the same. You can use its lower interest rate to pay off the debt that might rack up higher interest. The second way is through buffer funds. It's a natural thing for people to want to keep money in a cash savings bank account as emergency funds or a buffer. This helps people feel more secure, especially the rich. The good part here is that the banks do most of the nitty-gritty for you. They help you earn through tax returns and also by locking up the funds. Although it might not be the most realistic, especially with people who work from paycheck to paycheck, it's a good thing to start saving for whenever you can. Emergency funds and buffers do require a little bit of debt for some confidence. but you have to assure your bank that you'll be paying it off anyway. Just be sure it doesn't snowball. The third way is, no surprise, real estate. I know not a lot of people can get into this sort of thing, but the rich definitely can. The real estate business is booming now thanks to all of these rich people investing in houses and properties and getting them rented out. What's great is that you have multiple options to acquire property and 2 more options for how you want to use it. For example, you use the borrowed money to buy a house in a good location. After a few changes and renovations, you get your house reassessed and find out that the value of your property increased 3 times. Now, you can resell that house with more profit. If you want to keep going, you can buy another property with the profits you just earned. But I do have to warn you that real estate is full of loopholes. Anyone who has been around real estate knows exactly how difficult it is to get properties and how easy it is to lose money. If you aren't careful in making decisions, then the real estate business will just eat you alive. Make sure you're doing thorough research and looking for properties that are within your budget range. Real estate debt is the best thing to expand your passive income. However, you should also begin thinking about diversifying your assets. It's always a good idea not to put all of your eggs in the basket. The fourth way is by borrowing or loaning to invest. Borrowing to invest, like in property or shares, can be a very powerful tool in building wealth over time. It actually allows you to buy more investments than what you can usually be bought. Some millionaires and money experts call this gearing. If, let's say, your investments increase in value over time, gearing can help you gain more money than before. It mainly uses capital growth and income generated from different products that can actually help pay back the debt, plus interest and fees. A lot of millionaires do this because investing will always be a relevant thing in getting rich. However, like with other good things, there's always a risk involved. One of the biggest risks is when the value of your investment actually decreases over time. This risks you not being able to pay your debt and loans back in time. So that means you might have to be out of work for a while as you get your finances together. In the worst case scenario, depending on how much you've borrowed, you could lose much more than what you gave at first. Before we move on to the last way the wealthy use debt to get rich, I'd love to hear your thoughts so far. Do you think these are doable even if you aren't rich? Let us know what you think about these ways and comment down below if you have suggestions. We'd love to listen to you guys. Oh, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Now, back to the video. I know we've talked about bad debt a lot so far, but good debt could be as much of a motivation to wealthy people as bad ones are. The fifth and final way the wealthy use debt to get rich is through better cash flow management. Debt would be considered good as long as the product or asset's cash flow covers the debt and puts extra money into your hands. Let's take briefly a look at the cash flow pattern of a rich person I once knew. They had a nice looking diagram that showed their different assets and how these profit on a good normal day. The assets always create income, which always goes right back into the hands of the person who gave it. It's a positive cycle. But if you really want to be successful, you have to start controlling the direction of your cash flow. A lot of ordinary people go out and get multiple jobs while creating a cash flow system that provides money for expenses that liabilities create. Instead, it goes to the government, and these are what we know as taxes. Some successful people don't really like this idea. It's the main reason they're the actual entrepreneurs and not just employees. To help you get a better idea, let's do a quick example with simple math. Let's say you wanted to use $100,000 to invest in rental property. There are a few ways to go about this. You could go with Dave's advice and use the entire $100,000 and pay cash for only one property, or actually think about good debt to buy 5 different properties that fall in line with the budget. The bank would lend you $80,000 for every pay. If you feel comfortable enough with your roommates, you could actually divide the $100,000 into 5 $20,000 down payments. Let's add a bit of interest rate, and boom, you've got yourself a bigger income generating property. If you can handle the funds from selling these properties and watching out for any weirdness in payments, then cash flow management is the task for you. I know we've already talked about a few surefire ways the wealthy use debt to get rich, but the bottom line is that you should educate yourself about all the dealings. No matter what method you use to build wealth, it starts with you being able to differentiate good from bad debt. A strong mindset will help attract an even stronger income source. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and if you want to learn a few more tips and tricks to handling your money or your money-making skills, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers!